Okay. A view of our Armidale campus and the facilities that we have on campus. So the University of New England is a regional New South Wales university. So it's located in the city of Armidale in New South Wales. It's about a 6-hour drive north of Sydney and about a 4-hour drive south of Brisbane. So it's about halfway between Sydney and Brisbane. Now, normally we have about 8 flights daily from Armidale to Sydney. But obviously the pandemic has affected that, but we still do have flights operating. Qantas still operates here, and they fly from Armidale to Sydney still. We still have a train service and a bus service as well. So we're still quite accessible, even though the pandemic has affected the transport systems here. The city of Armidale, it's a regional city. It's a small city, so the population is 32,000, around about 32,000. Some students may find that they experience a bit of culture shock when they first arrive, especially if they're coming from a mega city or quite a large city. But once students settle in and they become part of the local community and the UNE community, they really do enjoy their time here and they have that genuine Australian study experience. Armidale is a very multicultural city. So we have a number of permanent residences from a number of different countries that have made Armidale their home. Armidale has a low cost of living, so it's very affordable compared to the big cities like Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne. It's also very safe and friendly. And when the pandemic hit, Armidale wasn't so much affected as the bigger cities. So we only had 1 case of coronavirus in total. That was at the start of the year in March. So we've been in a kind of safe bubble or a safe zone here. And we've pretty much been able to carry on as per normal, which is really good. And I think that's one of the benefits of being in a regional setting. You're not as impacted by such things as this pandemic. There are employment opportunities here in Armidale. So there's casual and part-time employment opportunities, mainly in the service sector. That's the cafes, restaurants, hospitality, retail. We also have Australia's largest indoor tomato farm, about 30 minutes from Armidale. And that employs a number of casual people and a lot of our international students. So the University of New England is a medium-sized university. We have about 22,000 students in total, and normally we have about 4,500 students studying on campus. Obviously, at this time, all of our students are actually studying on the online mode, and we have about 1,300 international students studying here from about 60 different countries. So there's lots of benefits from being at a regional university for one. If you study at the Armidale campus, you'll be entitled to 4 years post-study work rights if you study 2 years or more here. And being a medium-sized university, there's smaller classes, more one-on-one attention, and there's very much a community feel to our university. So students are a part of like the UNE family. They're not just numbers, they do get looked after here. And we have very substantial support systems in place for our international students.
It takes more than being online to be a great online university. It takes time and experience. The University of New England pioneered distance education in the 1950s and has been perfecting it ever since. With features like 24/7 tutor access, we're rated #1 for teaching quality and the only public university in Australia to receive a 5-star rating 15 years running. So, for an expert online education, choose UNE.
Now, I think it's very important to point that out because when UNE, at the start of the year, when our students had to switch to the online mode instead of being on campus, it was quite seamless and there was no disruption to their studies because we had that system in place. And it's been in place for quite some time and we've been perfecting it for a number of years. So there was no lack of quality of education. So students seamlessly switched over to the online mode and their studies weren't affected, which was really good. Now, Armidale is our main campus, our regional campus, where all the facilities and all the faculties are located. But we do have a small campus in Sydney, in Parramatta. It only offers a small subset of degrees, such as the Bachelor of Business with the Accounting and Informatics and Analytics majors, the Bachelor of Nursing Graduate Entry, the Master of Business Administration International, and the Master of Information Technology. At Sydney, we try to emulate what we do in Armidale for our international students. So we do have an international student support officer there to provide support for our international students. We have an international orientation like we do at the Armidale campus. And we run the academic skills workshops down there as well. So students still have access to that academic support. Students can access the conferencing and the study rooms and the facilities that we offer there as well. So at the Armidale campus, we do have on-campus accommodation. We have 7 residential colleges to choose from, and the pricing ranges from about $150 per week up to $340 per week. That will depend on the college, the length of stay, and the room type. Students can also purchase optional meal packages on top of their accommodation, or if they'd rather cook for themselves, they can choose to stay in a self-catered college where they can cook in one of the commercial kitchens available. One of our colleges, which is Earl Page College, offers a fully flexible accommodation package for our international students. That's $170 per week. There's no contracts, so students can stay for as little or as long as they like. And there's no deposit or bond, which is usually $800. It's very beneficial for our nursing students as well, because when they go on placement, they will not be paying for their accommodation at UNE, so it saves them money. For couples, families, or for students that just don't want to stay on campus, we do have plenty of off-campus accommodation options available in the city of Armidale. They range from units to flats to houses, and there's also private student accommodation in the city itself. So UNE has 3 faculties: the Faculty of Science, Agriculture, Business and Law, the Faculty of Medicine and Health, and the Faculty of Humanities, Arts, Social Science and Education. So these 3 faculties offer around 200 course options to our international students. And the majority of these courses are available online, which is very important during this time. So if students do need to commence their degree online because the borders haven't opened, then that option is available with the majority of our courses. So scholarships at UNE. UNE does run the Australia Awards Scholarship Program, which is the Australian Government Scholarship. We also have the Destination Australia Program, which again is another Australian Government scholarship. This scholarship is valued at $15,000 per year for the duration of the course. It's a merit-based scholarship, so the students do need to have met a certain GPA, and they need to have met all their academic and English language entry requirements to be eligible to apply for this scholarship. Now, there's limited scholarships available, and it's very competitive, so students need to have that exceptional academics to be considered for this scholarship. At the Armidale campus, we have an accommodation scholarship. That's 1 year free accommodation on campus, and that's valued at about $11,000, which is quite a substantial saving on that first year of accommodation. UNE Sydney does offer some scholarships from time to time. And at the Armidale campus, again, we have an English Language Centre, and we offer EAP scholarships for nursing students, and that's 10 weeks of English. We also have fully funded PhD and research scholarships. Now, recently UNE has introduced a 30% automatic scholarship. So students studying from the subcontinent will automatically have their fees reduced by 30%. Students can only hold one tuition fee scholarship at a time. So if they apply for the Destination Australia scholarship, or if they apply for a PhD scholarship and they are awarded that scholarship, then they will not receive the 30% automatic bursary. Students can, however, still apply for the accommodation scholarship. So they can receive the 30% automatic scholarship and also be awarded an accommodation scholarship. There's no requirements for this scholarship, the 30% scholarship. It will automatically be deducted off the fees. So students do not need to submit an application for that. Now, I'll just go through some of our most common fee points and show what the 30% scholarship will actually do to those fees. So our business, accounting and economics degrees, they're $28,216 for 2021. With the 30% scholarship, they will come down to $19,751. Our Master of Professional Accounting or our Bachelor of Nursing, graduate entry, or the 3-year Bachelor of Nursing, the fees for 2021 are $30,096, and they will be reduced to $21,067 with the 30% scholarship. The MBA, MIT, Data Science or Computer Science, they're $31,600 for 2021, and they'll be reduced down to $22,120. And our Agriculture and Environmental Science degrees are $33,856 for 2021, and they will be reduced down to $23,699. So quite a savings, making our fees very affordable and very competitive. Now, for our English language requirements, the standard minimum English language requirements for undergraduate and postgraduate coursework programs is an IELTS of 6 overall with no subband less than 5.5, or the TOEFL or PTE equivalent. We can also offer up to 10 weeks of English at our English Language Centre for students that don't meet those entry requirements. At the moment, our English language is also available fully online, so students can meet that English language requirement from home before they commence their degree program. Some of our courses have higher English language requirements. Sometimes this is due to them being accredited. So for example, our law degree has an IELTS of 6.5 overall with a minimum score of 6.5 in writing. Our nursing degrees have a 7 overall with no subband less than 7. Our education degrees, which are accredited, so the ones that lead to being a teacher in New South Wales, 7.5 overall with a minimum of 8 in both the speaking and listening. Our Master of Education with the TESOL major is a 7 overall with no subband less than 6.5. Pharmacy is a 7 overall. And our higher degree research programs and our Master of Scientific Studies is a 6.5 overall, no subband less than 6. Now, Blue Sky can help you with these entry requirements and the admission entry requirements as well, because they are quite different across certain situations. So it's best to speak to Blue Sky if you're unsure about your academic entry requirements, and they can assist you in that area. So that's my presentation finished. So I'll take some questions. I'll just go back to the start of this.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was very informative indeed. And guys, like Jennifer mentioned, that this is the prime opportunity to take the advantage of 4 years PSW for Armadale campus that Jennifer mentioned. Not all the campuses offer this particular 4 years post-study work visa. So this is a golden opportunity for all the students looking to settle in Australia post their completion of the studies. If anyone has any questions that needs answered, please feel free to reach out to Jennifer. She is live at the moment. She'll be more than happy to answer them.
Yeah, I think the 4-year post-study work rights is a huge return on investment, especially now with our fees being reduced by 30%. Yeah, it's very affordable, and you can quite easily make that investment back more so in the first 2 years. Then in 4 years' time, you're making a huge return on investment. Hi,
Hi
Shreya.
Jan, how are you? Sorry,
Good.
I was just
How are
running a
you?
bit late.
No,
Uh,
that's
b-
okay.
Being extremely running whole day, and I was in and out so many things, and I was sorry about that. I couldn't join at on time.
That's
But
okay. Good to see
I
you.
hope good to see you. Yes, you rightly mentioned about the post-study work visa. That is a huge investment, and also student have a great opportunity studying with the UNE. And at the moment, if the as a migration agent, I can say it, if the students are looking for some time, the onshore or the offshore, sometime future they want to have the option to be settling down here in Australia. I think the best way to study in the regional university, and the UNE is the one of the pioneer in the regional area. Plus, they also have a very great online platform. Students have a very good feedback on that one. So it's really good opportunity, and getting a 2 years extra work permit. That means they are in completely, they have a 4 years to work full time, and during this time that they can also have apply for their 491 visa, which is the regional provisional visa. And also they have opportunity to apply 190 visa, because every state have a preference for their own graduate. If they're studying the regional area, they get extra 5 points for the migration purpose. And also the studying the region, the UNE, so student will be able to get 5 extra point. Plus, when they study in a regional Australia, they'll be eligible for the 491 visa, 190 visa. So there are lots of opportunity for the student. And federal government has clear agenda. They want to promote to the regional Australia, and it's completely, it's a huge opportunity for individual, for businesses, for students. And they say the beauty of the Australia in the regional Australia, I will say that. Because sometimes I'm being to some of the campuses, there I can see the kangaroos on the campus, and they have a huge campus, huge fields, and it feel like going back to the study again. When you are Jen, is it's true actually. Whenever I go see any regional campuses and the campus and things, it feel like I should go back to the study days again.
It is, and this is my hometown, so I've lived here my whole life, and we have some beautiful areas around here. We're surrounded by national parks and rainforests. Yeah, so I love this area. It's slow, it's relaxed, it's safe. I like visiting the big cities, but I love coming home where I can just enjoy the quieter pace. Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Now look, you have the lot of information. That anyone want to have the any question, and any that they have a particular, even the current application is going on, if they need to have if they have any doubts or any question, they definitely can ask. The Jan is here, so it's a very good that you can get your answer right away. And if you have the new concern or the application or any queries you have, you come forward and you can ask as many questions you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to ask anything.
Jennifer, so one of the students did ask a question regarding the scholarship. So what would be the requirement to attain the accommodation scholarship?
So normally they
That
have to be
you think?
studying in the Armidale campus. So it's not available at the Sydney campus. We don't have the accommodation in Sydney. So they need to study at the Armidale campus. There's no requirements. So basically, they're given out first come, first serve. So we get given a number of places in the colleges that we can award as scholarships. So as soon as a student gets an offer letter, they should submit their application for the accommodation scholarship. That will be assessed, and then they'll get notified when they get their COE, I believe.
So there are no prerequisites as such. It's just first come, first served basis.
It's first come, first serve. For a while, we weren't giving it to the nursing students because they were out on placement quite a bit, but nursing students are now included in the accommodation scholarship offerings as well. So there's no eligibility requirements, and there's no exclusions either. So we just get a limited number of places that we can offer. Once they've been exhausted, that's it. We can't offer any more. So first come, first serve basis.
Brilliant. All right. Thanks again, Jennifer.
That's okay. I think someone's asking about an application fee. UNE doesn't charge an application fee, but Shayaz, I'll leave that to you in case you have administration fees that go with applications.
No, we have no fees. We're not charging from the student any application fees. So we free student service. Even also we also give the student IELTS training. We do charge a little bit of fees, but that fees is refunded once they get their visa, they enroll. So if they just take the only the IELTS classes, so we charging some, I don't know exactly how much they're charging, but I knew the matter of fact Shazman explained me that we just take the holding money. So if they enroll for the university, that money is pretty much given back to them. But if they don't enroll, that's that I think we're entitled to forfeit. So even for the IELTS or the that's preparation courses, we're not charging anything from the student.
Fantastic.
Any other question we have?
I was just going to say, the Indian student cohort is growing at UNE. So there's a growing community in Armidale as well. There are a number of permanent residents that have made Armidale their home that have come from India. There's a group of locals here. They formed a co-op and they opened up the India and Nepalese grocery store because they saw that was lacking in the community. So now that they service most of our students, so the students can find exactly what they need when they come to Armidale.
Okay, that's nice.
It is, yeah, it is. I think that's what happens in Armidale. The community really does get together and make sure that whatever's lacking gets filled. Do we accept distance learning education? Do you mean as you've studied by distance learning and you want to apply? I'm not quite sure what you're asking there.
I believe that is asking that if the student has studied the distance bachelor, online bachelor from in India, so is that acceptable?
Yeah, as long as that bachelor is equivalent to our AQF level 7 bachelor. So our admissions team or Blue Sky can have a look at that qualification and see if it does, it is equivalent to our bachelor's degree. If so, then yes, absolutely, we accept that.
We can check the NUSAR guideline.
Yes, yeah.
Look, don't shy away. If you have any question, this is the platform that you can ask it sometime. I know that after the event, you ask the counselor, okay, this question was there, this question you don't. And this is the platform where you can get the best possible answer from the experts.
And yeah, we're a big online university. So we have a big online presence. So we have a bricks and mortar, obviously, that's our main campus in Armidale that you saw in the presentation. But the majority of our students have always studied online. So we have a very sophisticated online platform. So students do need to commence their degree online. We are suggesting that students only do 1 or 2 units online to commence with, and then once they get on campus, they can start their full-time on-campus program. So our online model is very interactive and very supportive. So they have access, 24/7 access to our tutors on the online platform.
What is the minimum percentage I should have in +2 for getting bachelor in UNE?
It depends on what board it is. If it's the central board, it's a 60%. If it's a state board other than Punjab and Haryana, it's a 65%. If it's a Punjab or Haryana, then it's a 70% pass mark. So 60, 65 or 70, depending on where your certificate has been issued from.
Jen, is there any the uh, like pre-master program is coming for social work?
No. So we've only got the Master of Social Work, professional qualifying.
Yeah.
And then the academic entry requirements for that is a background in social science, so not social work. So it's the social science background, and they also look for units in sociology and psychology for those students to meet that academic requirement. So it's quite a tricky entry requirement, that one, because you think it
Yeah.
would be a Bachelor of Social Work.
Yeah.
But because the Bachelor of Social Work in India, if it was assessed by the board, it would probably lead to registration. So that's why we don't accept it. Yeah.
So social science is basically political science, economics, commerce,
It is.
accounting. So any of
It is.
those degree will be acceptable.
It is, but they still need to have those sociology and psychology units as well. So if they have a
If
Bachelor of Straight Accounting, they
yeah.
won't meet. It's very tricky. Yeah, it's very confusing. It actually goes to the school to be assessed. Not, it doesn't get assessed by our admissions team. So yeah, they're asking for a social science degree, which does include accounting and the like. But if it's just straight accounting units, they won't meet the academic entry requirements. They need to have sociology, psychology. So more in that area that they should have studied, and then to apply for the social work masters. Work experience is, well, not work experience, but placement, clinical placement is a part of some of our master's programs. So, for example, the Master of Social Work, professional qualifying, has 1,000 hours of clinical placement. So, in the first year, students will undertake 500 hours of, it's kind of like field work, and in the second year, they'll do the remaining 500 hours. So they get that practical experience. The other degree that has clinical placement is the Bachelor of Nursing Graduate Entry. So again, that's 800 hours of placement in a health facility, obtaining the practical experience required. So not all masters have work experience or clinical placement as part of their program. Only a few do. No, we don't have on-campus placements. So say if you were studying nursing at the Armidale campus, you would actually be placed in another city. So some students will choose a regional area, some will choose a metropolitan area, so they might go a little bit further away. But there are no on-campus placements. I mean, we do have labs and high-tech facilities where students will get that practical experience as well within the degree, but it's not a placement like, say, a nursing student would actually go into a hospital, and they'd be supervised by qualified nurses and then learn that practical experience. Whereas in the classroom, we have like simulation labs, and we have our agricultural properties that students can get into and get that practical experience, but it's not a placement. And we also don't have any internships attached to any of our programs at the moment. It's a mix, yes and no. It's say agriculture. Our agricultural degrees, there will be classroom, so there'll be theory-based learning. There'll be lab-based learning as well, depending on the subject. Like if it's biology, you'd go into the science labs. But we've also got actual properties. So we've got a 5,000-acre farm that the university owns. And on that farm is the Innovative Hub. So it's high-tech farming, so state-of-the-art, cutting-edge farming that students, bachelors, masters, research students, they can all access that. So it's I guess it's like real life learning. So they're not just learning about farms out of a textbook. They're actually going out there. We have sheep, we have genetics, sheep crops that have been experimenting for about 20 years. I think this genetic crop has been going for. We have agronomy and soil science crops. We have poultry CRC. So we have a lot of practical facilities where the students can get into and get the real, I guess, the real hands-on learning done. Yeah, so it's quite a mix of learning. A lot of the degrees refer to it as blended learning, where you'll have that practical and that theory component combined. Do you mean counselling in the way of support or counselling as to get a job afterwards? Okay, yeah. Not really. We don't really have career counsellors here. The best thing to do is utilise the academics that we have, because our academics have industry contacts and connections. You know, some academics have been in the field for 20 plus years, so they have a lot of connections with their specific subject area. So the best thing to do would be to utilise your academics. Our academics have an open door policy here. They're very friendly, very approachable. So you can make an appointment with them. So if you were interested in meeting or networking with particular areas, you could ask your academics how to actually get your foot in the door into those areas. We do have first year advisors for each course, so they will help students throughout that first year and make sure they're studying the right units for their particular career in mind, or even studying the right course, because sometimes students will come, they'll start studying one course thinking that's the right one, but actually it's this course that's quite similar but a little bit different, so they're able to shift into that course and they'll be on the right career path then. You need to be studying at the Armidale campus to get the 4 years post-study work rights. So that's the regional campus. Plenty of benefits for studying here. That's where I live. So I live in Armidale, where our regional campus is. So that's the only way you'll get the 4 years post-study work rights. If you're applying for a master's program, you'll automatically receive the 30% scholarship. So everyone studying from the subcontinent will receive a 30% scholarship. Now, you can apply for a Destination Australia scholarship if you choose to. And if you receive that scholarship, which is actually more than the 30% scholarship, that will be the only one you can receive. So you can only receive one tuition fee scholarship. But you can combine the 30% automatic scholarship with the accommodation scholarship. So you can still apply for the accommodation scholarship no matter what scholarship you receive, but you cannot have two tuition fee scholarships. Okay, so if you apply for February intake, this is the steps I suggest that students take. You apply for your offer. You actually apply for your visa as well. So you need to be granted your visa, as if you were studying, as if you were going to come onto campus in February. Now, if the borders aren't open, then you can commence online study, and this won't affect your post-study work rights. So that's the way you have to do it to be eligible for your post-study work rights at the end. Now, we only suggest that students undertake 1 or 2 units online to start with, because it is difficult to study online. 4 units is a full-time study load, and that's what you would be studying if you were on campus. But if you need to commence your degree online, then you only need to do 1 or 2 units. And then when you arrive on campus, then you can commence your full-time study load. I have no idea when the borders are opening. If I could read Scott Morrison's mind and get that answer, I would be so happy. But unfortunately, I think They're going to make a decision early next year on border openings for international students. So we should know more January, February about when students can actually come back. You may have heard that the vaccine is going to be rolled out from next year here in Australia. So we're hoping that that will speed things up and get the borders open sooner than later. I have heard that maybe if students are coming back, they may get vaccinated on arrival, which is not a bad thing. And also, I think they're just working out the quarantine situation, how they're going to quarantine students when they get here. And I think once all that's figured out, that's when the borders will open back up. It's not compulsory to study 1 or 2 units online. That's just what we suggest. I mean, if you want to undertake 4 units online, if you think you could handle that study load while studying online, that's entirely up to you. We just suggest you only do 1 or 2 units so that you succeed. And then when you come onto campus, you can actually pick up your 4 or your full-time study load. The wage rate in Australia depends very much on the sector that you're working in. So each sector in Australia is governed by an award, what's called an award, and that will determine your rate of pay. So for example, say if you wanted to do some casual employment in the retail sector, you might be earning some, depending on your age, how long you've been working there, you might earn around $20 to $25 per hour. Same with the service industry, like the cafes and the restaurants. Again, it might be around somewhere between $18, $26, $27 an hour. I know the tomato farm that employs students here, they get around 25 or above. That's quite a good rate of pay that they pay their employees there. So casual rates of pay, again, are higher than part-time, and they're higher than full-time. The reason why casual rates are higher is because if you get sick and have a day off, you don't get paid. So all of that's embedded in the casual rate of pay. So it very much depends on the type of job you're working and the industry that you're working in. Say if you picked up casual work as like we call them brickies labourers, like as a builder, helping builders, you might get a quite high rate of pay in that industry compared to working in, say, a restaurant. So very much depends on where you work. The bursary, yes, the bursary is the 30% scholarship. So it is called a 30%
Jennifer,
bursary.
I think the recording will not be too long. So I think Sandeep, can you please put us off the Facebook Live? Can you disconnect the Facebook Live and the YouTube Live? Or the recording gonna be